So the Activision Blizzard King or ABK deal with Microsoft or Xbox has gone through and it's been approved. And I think it was a really, really bad decision to let it go ahead. And it's my own personal opinion. And we're going to jump straight in with why I think it's so bad. And that's because, yeah, it might be over. Xbox can start putting their focus elsewhere. But for the last 18 months plus, they have neglected pretty much everything to focus specifically on this deal. And just because Xbox now own Activision, Call of Duty is probably going to get even worse. And I say that because you have games like Forza Motorsport, even though it's a great game at its core, there is an issue, I believe it's still present in the game for some players, where upgrading or purchasing a new car can entirely corrupt your data. They can also, basically delete some of your career progress. And when it comes to games like Redfall, the developers at Arcane wanted to, basically they asked if they could cancel the game because they knew how bad of a state it was in. Xbox said no, release the game, and we got what Redfall is. It's an open world, empty, boring, bland game with a terrible story behind it that's only available if you like reading through notes that you can find in the game world. And it took them 5 months to add 60 FPS into the title along with extra enemies on the map. Yeah, they're wanting to work with that game for 10 years and they can't sustain any player base at all. It's been L after L for Xbox, even things like State of Decay 3, where the fuck is that game? If I remember correctly, we haven't heard anything about that since the launch of the Series X, which was 3 years ago. And after a quick Google search, yes, it was announced back in 2020, and the speculated or the rumoured release date is 2027. So, Forza Motorsport being 3 years, released 3 years after its announcement, we could possibly have State of Decay 3 7 years after it's announced, which I believe, if it goes to how it's gone in the past, the history of the consoles, it will be released around a year before the new console comes out. Xbox is just a mess, and Activision, Blizzard, they are in the same boat. They have failed releases. You've got Modern Warfare 3 where there's been no effort put into the game whatsoever. They're just releasing a bunch of 2009 Modern Warfare 2 maps into their game. They lied about the 2-year cycle the franchise was supposed to be going to. Then you have games like Overwatch 2, which is pretty much Overwatch 1, just a little bit more updated. And you've also got Diablo 4, which has done nothing but push players away ever since it first released. All the games involved in this deal, like the modern games, are an absolute shambles. And I honestly think with Xbox forcing Arcane to rush their game out and just the way the company's been going in the last few years, I honestly think Activision Blizzard King games that come to Xbox will possibly get even worse because Xbox now have their hands on them. And this is coming from an Xbox fan. I've not done anything PlayStation since the PS2. I've always had an Xbox. And just being an Xbox fan, an Xbox gamer at least, I still see the bad side to it. There's a very, very bad side to this deal. Fingers crossed it goes the other way and it does become a very good deal. But they're already saying that the games won't be coming to Game Pass until some point next year. They've still got to sort all that stuff out. This deal has been going on for over a fucking year and a half. They should have had everything in place by now. And all these companies ever spew when they're doing interviews and stuff is how they're for the gamers. Everything's for the gamers. Well, what is for the gamer when it comes to this deal? There is absolutely nothing. There is basically, with the gaming companies, it's like a game of Monopoly. They're landing on properties, they're buying them from the bank, or they're landing on companies, they're purchasing them. And then they just slowly build up those houses and turn them into hotels, and then they just reap in the benefits. They get all of the profits and stuff from the companies over time. It's a really, really big fingers crossed that Xbox don't try and get into any other deals with other companies and stuff, because the amount they've focused on this ABK deal has just put everything Xbox on the back burner. And this cost the gamers a lot of... basically, people have wasted a lot of money because they're out buying Game Pass subscriptions. And when a lot of games come to Game Pass, they're broken out of the gate. And when it comes to purchasing games, and even, especially, I'm going to say, Xbox first-party titles, they're sometimes even worse than the other stuff that goes on to Game Pass. So hopefully now the deal is done, Xbox will sort their priorities out. They'll actually start turning things around. But I can't see it happening. And I think there's quite a big possibility that Call of Duty games going forward are just going to get even worse. And that's quite a heavy thing to say with how bad Call of Duty's going at the moment. But that's my opinion on the ABK Xbox deal. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. If you enjoyed it, leaving a like is appreciated. If you wish to support me further as a creator, there are links in the description. Let me know your thoughts about the video in the comments. And if you want to watch more, you can click the video on screen. All support on the channel is greatly appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.